Welcome to Canada's West Coast, Vancouver, British Columbia. Beautiful BC, the views, the scenery, as the Toronto Raptors make training camp here in Vancouver. Welcome inside the Christine Sinclair Community Center in Burnaby, British Columbia. Paul Jones alongside Alvin Williams, Raptors Today. Alvin, everything new right now. New coach, of course, new players, new system. You've been there, and I'm going to get your perspective from both sides of it. What's it like when a new coach comes in and you are the new coach and you're coming into a team that has some existing personalities, solid players, they've been a good team, they're looking to advance, and they have expectations? How does a new coach handle that?
I mean, I'm sure you're excited, right? But I think it's a part where you're confident in what you're bringing to that team that's different, that's been in the past, or whatever that team has gotten to where they make that adjustment or that change in coaches. So you have to be confident. You have to believe in your style. You have to believe in your coaching staff. But also you have to have a pulse on the players, the current players. So you got to make sure you're delivering that message, and you're not going to waver. You know what you're trying to do. You know what's needed to be done to win. But also have the coaching staff, and your ability and confidence in yourself, where you can make an adjustment need to be, and see how it meshes with the current personnel. Because you have great players, you have players that have accomplished at the highest level and talent-wise individuals. So now how you bring all that together, and as a coach, you should be very excited, but also have the confidence that everything's going to come together at some point. And you got to be patient. Yeah. Really got to be patient.
There is patience and a feeling out to all of this. Let's hear from that guy who's entrusted with all of this, the new head coach of the Toronto Raptors, Darko Rajakovic.
3 of the vents. I noticed they're all shooting with Gradey. Is that by design? Do you want those guys, Thad, Otto, and Garrett in his ear specifically?
No, absolutely. We want him, and he's on the plane sitting together with, I believe that Garrett is with him, and Garrett is already taking him under the wing. I always say, like, veterans in this league, they like to mess around with rookies, and that comes with the territory. It's okay to do that, but you gotta take care of those guys. You gotta show them the ropes first.
One thing that you talked about, the NBA, you can't play two-man game anymore. You can't play ISO because there's so many good players. 1 through 4 got to be interchangeable. Is that because there are so many good players in the league that every team's got 3 or 4 of them?
I mean, as you can see, game is changing so much, and every year offense is going to another level. It's harder and harder every year to play defense because of the rule changes or whatnot, and the talent level in this league is just like really, really high. You know, a lot of players that can really shoot the ball, do multiple things, and we as coaches, we always work with what we have, and that's kind of like tendency of the league, and I think that's going to continue developing that way in the next 5-10 years.
Whether it's the first 2 days of camp here or even over the summer, has somebody sort of stepped into that more vocal leadership role, or has it sort of been a collective leadership situation?
I don't know, what was it over here in the past? I was not here, so for me it's hard to compare.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that a lot of guys are stepping up with talking, with leadership. Obviously having veterans like Ted Young and Garrett Temple, Otto, those guys are always like a great voice for the team. But also we're hearing Dennis speak up, we're hearing Pascal speak up, we're hearing Gary speak up. It's a collective, it's a whole team effort to keep each other accountable and keep pushing each other.
All right, that's the coaching perspective. Al, I'm going to ask you to put your other hat on, the player perspective. And I remember specifically you here in Toronto being a player with a new coach coming in after being in an old regime. It proved to be very fruitful for you as a player. But what's it like when you're that guy that's here and now you're hearing maybe the same message in a different way, and there's a new guy in charge of everything, and you're trying to get his eye, his ear, and show him that, hey, coach, I can contribute?
That's it. How do you make sure you can get that confidence from that coach? Of course, you have players that the coaches, they come into the situation and they know who they are a lot from a distance. Right. But when you're really on the court and you get to work with these players night in and night out, you know exactly what they can do and how good they really are. But as a player, once again, being excited and just being open. Right, being open to the
fresh start,
and that's always good. Yeah. That's always good, especially when you're coming off of a down season. Like a fresh start. Me as a player, it was invited. I didn't have the greatest experience as far as playing time, and I got another opportunity with another coach, fortunately, and I learned from the past regime, I learned from the past coaches, and I implemented that into the new coaches, and it helped. So it was a great mixture. But as a player, you have to remember you have your job to go out there and play, and no matter what the coach asks you to do, you go out there and perform. At the end of the day, you throw all your ego, you throw your pride aside, and then you just play for the betterment of the team, because you're good enough, it's going to show. So make sure that happens, and then you'll start getting the confidence of the coach, and it's up to the coach to make sure you give that player that respect that they need, they deserve, and they earn, and make sure you go forward together, because ultimately the ultimate goal is to win.
An existing player who had a terrific statistical season for the Raptors last year, Pascal Siakam. Here are his thoughts. It's all new for you, but how's it going? Your teammates.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I think for me, yeah, just getting taking everything in, just being like observing, and just again like continue to be me. Because at the end of the day, like I always, I mean, I think for me it's just like that the notion of like adapting. As a team we all gotta adapt, right? Like we all gotta figure out. Because he's a new coach, right? Like he's gonna come in with his stuff and his philosophy. But I think for me, like, there's nothing more that I have to adjust than the rest of my teammates. At the end of the day. But I also believe that I've played in every real position in the NBA. Like since the first day I got here, like I was running down the floor, Kyle just throwing the ball and I'm catching it and dunking it. From getting to the corner, starting developing ball handling, shooting. So like I've seen everything at the end of the day, and like I think what makes me special is that like I'm a hooper. Like at the end of the day, like when people work out in the summer and like they do one-on-one workouts, like I want to play basketball, like because like I want to be able to understand the game, play off of like guys and not just doing drills and be a robot. Like that's I think is my strength, as a player. So yeah, like I'm definitely not worried about that. I know that my abilities, on the basketball court will always like prevail into any situation that I'm put in.
So with that attitude of, okay, I got this, what have you seen as some of the biggest, I guess, differences from all that you've been through in the past since you've been here?
I mean, I think it's probably a little bit more like, for me, again, somebody just bringing the ball up. We got the five having the ball in his hands. We got to play off of him, which I'm kind of like used to. I've done it with Jakob before. But I think, to be honest, like nothing that I'm like, it's like crazy in my head or anything like that. Like, so I just think that it's basketball, and we're gonna have to play basketball at the end of the day.
There you get a look at the newest Raptor, the first-round draft pick, Gradey Dick, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, being a Kansas Jayhawk and coming to the Toronto Raptors. A lot of adjustments for the youngster. He talked about it. You'll hear from him in a minute, talking about those adjustments, and being taught by a number of veterans that look at the youngster with great potential, knowing that he could potentially do terrific things for the Toronto Raptors. Let's hear from Gradey Dick. Gradey, what's your adjustment been like in your first pro training camp? Competing with vets and kind of getting the lay of the land?
Yeah, I think the change has been great. Great for me personally, and just meeting the new guys. Obviously I'm the new guy coming in, so I come in with the mindset of just being that sponge, soaking up all the knowledge, all the teachings from the vets coach, and just being someone willing to learn everything.
Probably going to be asked this a bunch of times when games start and other things, but what's been the biggest difference? What have you noticed the most in terms of changes from your college?
I think one of the biggest changes from college, probably just the spacing of the court, a lot more wide open compared to a more kind of suctioned in college defense, I'd say. A lot more matchup kind of oriented defenses where people are going to go at you, you're going to go at them, and just trying to find those changes. But I think just utilizing the space of the floor and getting open for shots, whether offense, defense, stuff like that.
Has that impacted you, helped you, hurt you, or adjusting to it?
I think it's been great. That's actually when I was in college, making that transition to this level. What I've been hearing a lot was that kind of shooters, those wing type players are going to enjoy that, where they have more kind of space to roam, and where they're not kind of really suctioning, like I said, to the defense of college. But it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, but I think my biggest thing is just learning from an amazing coach Darko and, like I said, the vets, and just learning how to utilize that to my advantage.
Darko was telling us that Garrett has really taken you under his wing, sitting next to you on the plane and whatnot. He's obviously been around the league for a long time. What kind of wisdom has he been able to impart, and what have you specifically taken from his teachings?
That's a real OG. He's him, Otto. Those guys are huge mentors to me right now. Obviously, I can't even tell you the age gap between us, but I could probably be their son. But I think it's just huge to, like you said, a guy that's been in the league that long, and just me learning the ropes from him, and just trying to take everything that he says and put it into my game.
A look at the 4-game preseason for the Toronto Raptors starting Sunday, October 8 at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, where the Raptors will take on the Sacramento Kings. The game already sold out. You can see it on Sportsnet, and the preseason wraps up with the Raptors taking on the Washington Wizards just before the Minnesota Timberwolves come to town for the opener on October 25th. That's it from us here at Raptors Today. For a lot of talented people behind the camera that you don't see, and Alvin Williams, who joined me earlier, thank you for watching.